that white.
So we're not looking right directly at the sun, but we're looking at a white fence that is
I can't see.
Really doing a good job making us really well lit. So,
okay,
we're about to head to Hawaii on Sunday, and we're going to find a lot of amazing gardens for you guys to look at. We saved money for a year to be able to go. We're really excited to take a trip that, even though it's not for work.
How can you see? I can't see. It's hurt my eyes. I'm sorry.
I can't see. That's why my eyes are closed.
But don't you want to be able to have open eyes when you're talking to the camera?
I can't do it.
I know. It's too bright with the white fence.
Okay. Today we're here because Darwin is putting together an Aircrete shed, and it's not going to be geodesic. It's going to be wall panels, and he is experimenting with it and playing with the mixes. He already has a pretty good idea of how he's going to do it, but things always change when Darwin and Aircrete get involved. So we wanted to show you what's happening. There's where it's going to be, the shed.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
You can see it.
And what we're doing today, Mel and I, is we're going to take up the large boards that are on the deck, because the deck is being redone.
Sorry, my bad. You'll have to cut that out. Bleep.
Here at Melanie's Adopted Parents, we're going to be taking off the longest boards because we can use them for other projects later, for framing and that kind of thing. And so that's what you're going to watch right now, is the project of Mel and I taking those boards down. It'll take us 2 minutes, and then we're going to go play with the kids. We're working really hard on life balance, work-play balance, and making sure we're taking time to play.
She hasn't had like a day off in like 10 years.
Well, I think that's a mom thing, right?
It pretty much is, yeah.
So us doing this as a girls' activity means that's why we're really excited about, not because we don't want our family to be there, but because usually on a vacation where you take your family, you're still taking care of changing diapers or making sure everybody doesn't get sunburned. And so now we just get to kind of focus on, did I put my sunscreen on?
Exactly.
That's the only thing I need to worry about, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So we're excited. So go ahead and watch us take down the deck, and then when Darwin gets here, we'll let him talk about his part of the project.
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh, I'm so blind. Okay, hop down, honey.
I don't
it's
know
already
if you
going.
saw that video where I sheared the grass off.
Uh-huh.
So I did that there too. But this is all going to be a patio. Even now, they're getting pulled out. Look how that worked out.
Hey guys, so this is the concrete pad that they're going to be pouring for the Aircrete shed. It still needs to have a concrete pad because Aircrete would not make a good foundation.
Right.
And what it is the next step towards getting a geodesic Aircrete dome made, that we're going to start with maybe a chicken house or a goat shed that is kind of also a greenhouse, and then moving on to maybe a house. He's trying to work towards a system that actually has enough structural integrity that it can meet code as a home building material.
Right. And there are systems in place with Aircrete that do meet code in some places. And so what I want to do is just kind of bring it more mainstream. But, I mean, concrete is inherently brittle. And if you're ever going to do a tilt-up wall panel system or whatever, it doesn't matter what kind. If you're going to do full strength, high strength, or heavy, they have to have huge reinforcement and rebar systems inside of them to make them feasible for that. Now, these wall panels that I'm doing, the way I'm going to keep them not brittle is the same way they keep a piece of sheetrock not brittle, where it's got paper on both sides. That stuff would just fall apart and crumble apart. Anybody who's ever run a knife blade down a piece of sheetrock knows that it'll just bust right in half right there. And so what I'm going to do with these wall panels is they're going to have a sheet metal outer frame with sheet metal studs, and then they're going to have a wire fabric mesh on both sides. Okay, so after this wall panel shed system that we're putting up, we're going to segue into geodesic dome 1.0. And what I mean by 1.0 is it's going to be out at Julie's place, and it's going to have several experimental features to it. Geodesic means it's made out of a series of triangles. A monolithic dome home is made in one pour and one piece. So this is going to be a series of triangles. We're going to experiment with window triangles so that we can put together a greenhouse situation on the southern facing portions of it. And we're going to experiment with different arched entry systems into this thing. And we're going to learn a ton. Now, we're also going to learn a ton on this wall panel system with how well and how structurally sound the steel mesh fabric works on both sides of it to keep it nice and strong.
And so what is your background in concrete and in construction? Just so people understand that you're not just coming at this cold.
Oh, yeah. So I worked for a engineering firm for many years, and we basically were a geotech engineering firm. We built road underlayments, bridges, bridge abutments, and things of that nature. In order to do that and be a field technician in the geotech engineering field, I had to get certified in asphalt and concrete, and I've done thousands of tests on different high-strength type of concretes that they would use for bridge abutments and for roads and whatnot. So I have a good foundation of knowledge for kind of moving into this Aircrete thing. That being said, a lot of it is still experimental and putting these mixes together for different designs and different things, whatever the project may be, whether it's just strictly an insulation for a double wall stovepipe, or it's a refractory or something that can take heat for a rocket stove or a forge, or whether it's putting these mixes together to make them so that they work well with a wall panel system. And I know anybody who's ever done any experimenting with Aircrete has had issues with the bubbles popping too quick and it not staying the same shape as in the form and stuff. And those are some of the challenges that I had to overcome before I even got started on some of these larger projects. And so I'm really encouraged. Just this morning I was looking at some of my samples of the first blocks that I made for Julie's raised flower bed. And these were blocks that I thought were complete fails. But after a month of them sitting out there in the rain, in the sun, getting wet, getting dry, they're getting super hard. And they were the ones that I cast aside because I thought they were way too brittle. So I'm really encouraged. Aircrete is incredible. It gets harder and harder over time. It sets up more. And if it can be in an environment where it's sound and strong enough initially that it remains kind of undisturbed,
Right.
it will get super strong. And so I'm really excited about these wall panels. Really excited about them.
So if you guys are interested in this kind of building practice, Darwin has the blends over on his Etsy store so that you can get the right mix. If you don't have the right mix for your application you're putting it into, it won't work. If you're doing a refractory mix, you have to do it a certain way. If you're doing something you want to be light and movable, like the garden beds, you need to do it a certain way. And for something like this, it's structural, you need it to be a certain way. And so he has his mixes over on his Etsy store. He has the foam mate over on the Etsy store.
Right.
And they have all the how-to channels over. And they have all the videos on how to do these over on their channel as well. So how to do carpenter, make sure to go check it out. Okay, it's really bright.
Oh, I'm
Even
showing
though-
some good cleavage.
Good cleavage. Should I show cleavage too?
Then we can be matching.
You can be the cleavage twins. Don't those
Yay.
sound like really interesting twins to have in your life?
There we go. Perfect.
Mine just isn't going to be as much as yours because
I
I crossed
love
my
your
bra
green.
strap.
You're all styling. I'm all gray.
I think we look like we're in our pajamas.
Right. These are my pajamas. But that's.
Right, I slipped.
When I go to ride, I put a double sports bra on,
Right.
and it has a bra in it. So it's like, yeah. Is it recording? Oh, it's recording. No, I can't. Oh, I can't
Just
see
have
a
to
blind.
squint.
I can't see.